my cornfield, their cornfield. It's all leased out at the end of the day to some local farmers, so we don't actually farm the land. But yeah, as of this summer 2024, we have 19 acres here, so that's pretty interesting. And big thank you to my parents for basically gifting us that parcel of land. Just kind of watching things come together on how soon there can be a house on top of the hill here. We haven't shared a lot on YouTube, to be honest with you, so we're going to try to make this a YouTube and Facebook video. Let me see how this is tracking. It's tracking. So we're here in the woods. There's about 3.5 acres of woods right here for this portion of property. And one of the things, if you go back about 70 years, what was put in here was a holding tank, and I believe it holds about 6,000 gallons of water, potentially 8,000. And what's unique is if you go up another, we'll say 100 feet here, you got the same exact tank that's a holding tank. So that's potentially 12,000 gallons of water that they would store right here on the property to get the livestock water. The way that they fed this reservoir right here is a spring that fed that reservoir. It's not producing a whole lot of water at this point. We don't understand it completely, but we're only about 3 days into actually trying to understand this system and coming up with ways to possibly keep this spring alive. All right, so here at the reservoir, this is the first reservoir right here that's fed from the spring. We do believe that it's not being fed at this point. The pipe is old and clogged up and probably corroded. And we don't know where the water comes from, but we just drained at least 6,000 gallons worth of water, 7,000 gallons worth of water out of it. Probably at least 6 inches of muck at the bottom of this tank that would at some point need drained out if we would choose to do something with this tank right here. But we really just wanted to get an idea of how fast it'll fill back up. Maybe it remains empty forever. That is possible, right?
Yeah, if it just been holding the water for 20 years, yeah, it could take it a while.
Just to give a backstory, we know we're going to be potentially drilling anywhere from a 300-foot well to a 500-foot well here on the property as me and Heather build. And the thought crossed our mind, what if we utilize the spring source, and which led me down a rabbit trail of looking at how to possibly build a spring, how to restore this spring, and could it potentially be enough water for us? We don't think that's an option at this point. It's not backed up by the biggest hillside, but it is here, and the question would be, could it be potentially a backup water source if we happen to need it at any point? Well, why would it be cool to have a house right here?
Because it's to one of our neighbors, and it's next to a forest that me and Raven can hunt in whenever Raven comes over. And it's also next to your
and if you put it right here, this would be your view, right?
Yeah.
What I want to do is try to actually restore this spring. Pretty much I'm looking at the options of building a whole new spring system. It's very moist in front of the spring itself, so there is still water flow there. I don't know if it's leaking out of the spring because I don't know that the rock structure is very solid for it. What I'm looking to do is probably end up ripping out this whole spring to put in a new spring. So this is the spring itself. This is a couple days later. We had some rain this morning, and you can see where it's filled up to the top, and it's definitely seeping out. Right here you could just see the water seeping out of the ground. I'm guessing right in front of the spring here is where it's seeping through. This right here is all the clay. We have about 2 or 3 piles of clay that we have dug out of the spring itself. Going down a little bit of a rabbit trail here because my thought is that we have a constant flow of water on the property here. That'd be pretty cool. My thought is just to remove the old structure of this spring and create a new structure a new spring at this same exact location. I'm going to bring this portion of video to an end, and maybe we'll do a second video on what we do to actually bring this spring back to life. But I share this stuff here online that possibly you'll leave some comments down below, which will lead me the right direction towards bringing this spring back to life and having a little bit of a water source, a backup water source. So, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm getting excited, and we should be getting the septic design this week, and we should be moving forward with getting bids on the project that we look to put together to having a home out here. So